Welcome back, Avani.
Before the break, you asked me, what do I think? Because we were talking about a company that people may have assumed was just your average escort service, which it wasn't. I must stress. It's called Rent a Gent. Because, as I said, today's show topic is talking about people, single people, who may not have found either a partner or the one they want to marry yet. And because of their careers and a myriad of other reasons, of course, they decide that sometimes when they need a companion to go to a function, rather than, the old faffing about of trying to find someone at short notice and getting uncomfortable trying to get to know them as they go to the date, just rent somebody's time. I stress it. I don't want people getting the wrong idea. I am not trying to say anything else.
Not their bodies is what I'm
That's
hearing.
right. It's anything off the clock. That's between you and said consenting adult parties. We ain't, no. Nothing to do with us. That's what the company founder said when she pitched her idea to Mr. Kevin O'Leary at Shark Tank, because I think he was looking at her, when you read the article, he was looking at her thinking, hold on, no, this sounds like an escort agency. And she said, no, it's not. It's just for the time, the companionship to accompany them to wherever. So you asked me, K-Rose, didn't you? Please say the question again for anyone who's just joined us.
Well, again, we've got Curtis. And long story short, I'm not going to take as much time, but let's say Curtis, he is a employee of the Rent-A-Gent, which the name by itself is funny. But Curtis works for Rent-A-Gent, and right. Curtis basically is rented, or his time has been rented by 3 different women in 3 different functions in London. And Edna has attended all 3 of those functions. And she has seen Curtis at all 3 functions and overheard, possibly, because we'll say she's not a messy Marvin. She's just overhearing his name at one event. His name has changed at each event that she's seen him at. My question was, what does Edna think about the women that she sees with Curtis? And that's where we got into the discussion as to, Edna being nosy. So let's take that out the loop for a minute. Okay. So let's not make Edna miss.
Listen, Edna's too nosy. But you wanted to know what I think. Basically, I think she's probably looking at him thinking, fine specimen. Maybe she might like to get to know him herself. So that's number one. She might think, I need to find a way to get to, go up to him and just pass him my card and say, listen, I have a function and would you be able to accompany me to said function whenever it is? Because she might be looking at him thinking, that looks like a good idea. Because she's probably going to, as you said, she's not Messy Marvin, you said, but I think she just knows it. So she may have overheard his name being a different name at each of these different functions. And then she's realizing, okay, maybe he's not who he purports to be. So she's thinking, right, then when I go to my function, I'm going to have to make him an out-of-town somebody. Because if he goes somewhere else and someone else recognizes him from being out with her, maybe it's going to start, tongues are wagging kind of thing. Or maybe she just take him somewhere where nobody notices him in terms of nobody knows him, so she won't have to explain herself again in future. If that makes sense. But yeah, I think she'd be up for the idea. Listen, if she's got time to be wondering about that, she might be looking at that thinking it's a good idea. And there ain't nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with it. Because sometimes you need to do what you got to do with it. And it saves time. And it is, as you said, a straight up business arrangement. Business.
Well, and again, I mean, to me, I try to live in an emotional world and just a straight how can you make money world. I look at things that way a lot of times. I try and separate worlds, and I have a world of protest and some things that should be protested and things like that. So I separate things. But 2 things that I would think of, I don't think I could comfortably work for the company, first of all, even though I feel I'm a dapper person and would be rented quite often. But
okay. You put it out there. If you were available,
if that was my occupation, yes, I would not have a problem with people renting me. But the other thing is, to me, what if it was inverse, and what if the man was renting this woman? Do you think society would, look favorably on that?
Again, see, if they felt like they had to explain themselves, right, then they would have to say, listen, it's the same thing applies. My time is being paid for as a companion to accompany said body to wherever it is they're going. And they want me to look the part and to look like I am part of their life because they chose to be with me and they wanted to bring me to this function. And that's it. People are too nosy. Look, they need to mind their business.
But you're saying what I'm thinking also. If I'm so worried about what people think about me, won't I possibly worry that other people will think that Curtis is rented and they may have a negative view of me?
Yeah, but
so
see...
Can you have it both ways?
Well, yeah. You know what? You can, in some sense, is that because... Remember, it's her life, it's Curtis's life. So these, as far as they're concerned, it's a business transaction. If anybody wants to delve into it, they don't have to tell them. They could lie through their teeth and just, I've known him for a while and he's my friend and da-da-da-da-da-da. If you're going to get, Nosy Edna and so on, people like that coming over, they could just tell her a whole pack of lies. But if they really want to be truthful, which is probably what she wants to hear, the dirt, she wants to hear the tea, she wants to know the gossip, then... they could tell her the truth, and their eyes would be even wider, innit?
Well, yeah, that's my point. And to me, why are we so worried? Not we, you and me, but why are people so worried about what other people think of them or about them? But that goes directly to your topic. It goes to people listening to other people and people marrying themselves and this otherness. Why are we so worried about that?
It's the stigma. It's society and church that says, okay, you are supposed to go through life, and in your life you are supposed to get married, you are supposed to have a family. These are the things that people, society, say is the normal trajectory of a person's life. And what if some people just ain't maternal like that? Or what if some people have had bad experiences and they say, listen, I ain't never getting married again? Because they may have been married before. People don't realise. Just because you're not married now doesn't mean you have never been married. And just because you choose to stay alone, as it says in one of the posts I sent you, doesn't it? Doesn't mean that you don't know nothing about love. It just means that you may be thinking, okay, it's wiser for me to just keep my quiet. I'm going to keep my counsel for now because I've had a bit of a hard time. And let me just enjoy myself without trying to tie myself to a significant other because society says I have to. No, and I want to share. See, this is why link 5 came out. I thought it was interesting because when I was again researching and I was watching it on YouTube, there was this lady, and she said. Now, it took her a while to say it, but she said she was married, and she was married to the pastor of a church. So it was intriguing when I was watching it, because I thought, what's she going to say? And she was saying, okay, there's certain things that, certain churches, when people go to church, if they're a member of a church, the church will tell them, okay, you need to not do this, and this, and you need to do that. And she said, she found that was keeping people from finding a partner because they were waiting for somebody to come and find them. And she was like, well, no, you can't wait for someone to come and find you. Or they were waiting for God to send them their partner. And they assumed probably that they were going to find their partner in the church. So they were always at the church, not just because they wanted to worship, but because they were expecting the divine to come down, not come down, but to send them somebody and for that person to interact with them in the church, and it was only going to be in the church, and they were expecting that. You see what I mean? So she was saying, look, you lot need to stop doing that because it's messing up your life. And she said churches and pastors need to stop calling people to the church every other night for some Bible meeting or whatever. She said because it's messing up their life. They never go anywhere apart from to church. And all they're doing is waiting for the Lord to send them their significant other who they believe, oh, yeah, I found my husband. No, as I can't remember his name now, Creflo Dollar, he said, you might find the devil.
Very, very much possible.
Yeah, and I just thought, okay, now. Do you remember that video? I must find that again. That I shared it with you a couple of months ago, and when he was asking them, you want the person to tell you got to ask loads of questions.
Oh yeah.
When we played it on air, I just couldn't stop laughing, and I remember thinking back to that when I was looking researching for this show, because I was thinking it's true. And this lady said the same sort of thing. She's like, you cannot wait for someone to find you. You have to go out, and it's it's like a crossroads. You've got to get to the point yourself. It's like meeting each other halfway almost. You've got to put yourself out there for that person to find you. and then you meet in the middle, innit? That's what she's trying to say. So people, we are sharing these links on at Ask Avani Show. You can go on there, please comment, tell us what you think, share, enjoy. Because when I was watching it, I thought, you know what? She's got a point. I mean, I have to say, I agree with what she said, but what do you think, K-Rose? I mean,
well, I think part of it is that organization, a church, normally is there to bring in. Well, it's there for to help people.
Yeah.
As we would say, save people. And part of the people that you are working to correct their lives or working to save can be, not always, but can be people who are real evil people. And so they're there to cleanse themselves. And being there to cleanse themselves, they may, as the church says, backslide. And so if someone backslides, they would be in the church and they see that nice, sweet church woman, and they see her, and in their past lives they've been a gigolo, and now they're in the church and they've been really going in the right direction. Then they see that person that's just 100% their type.
Yeah, but this is a physical attraction now. See, that can get people into trouble. We already know.
Yep. So that part of it, it could flip a switch on, and then they could become that gigolo guy again, and backslide. And so the church is a dangerous place for people if they don't understand that can happen. And so hopefully, because some of this happened with women and ministers in the church.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, to me, look everywhere. No, not just go to the church because you think you're going to find. Now, there are like minds at the church. They believe as you do. But don't just think they're
that's what she's
perfect.
saying. She's saying don't stay in the church and be, closed off to any other scenario that can help you find your partner. And don't be so obsessed with marriage. She said, I was married to a pastor. She said, listen, every time, everything was the church. She said, we were always at church. And she said it got to the point where, because she said, look, I it's not that I don't like church, because I like going to church and stuff. She said, but it was just it was her life and nothing else mattered. Everything was the church. It was the be all and end all. It started with the church, it ended with the church. She couldn't take it no more, which is why she's divorced now. You got to watch the video. Please just go at Ask Avani Show and click on the link, because I tell you, and that's what the video is called. Is the black church keeping black women single? Because I just thought, I was watching that and I just was like, wow, and it just made me think. If you are so stuck in a rut of believing everything and doing everything that you are being told, whether it's by the church or whether it's by society, you're going to get well confused and stressed. And maybe that's why the woman just thought, the one who married her dog, she just thought, you know what? I'm just going to marry my dog, because I can't find anyone. I've tried it the society's way. I've listened to the scholars and whoever else is telling me I need to do this and I need to do that. And I can't. It just ain't working for me. I'm just going to retreat, and me and the dog is good.
It's still not good. I mean, I don't care.
No, it's not good,
that's to me not. I'm sorry. I'm not agreeing with her.
It's not good in our eyes, but in her mind, she's done. She can't take it no more. It's too much of a stress and a struggle, and trying to wait for Mr. Right. No, it's not happening.
She needs counseling. I'm sorry.
She needs something.
She needs counseling, because I'm not agreeing with her.
I got to share this with you. I have to share this, because when I saw this next one, I thought, okay, that's a little bit patronising, link 6. Now it was an ABC News report. See now, I try to get my sources of information from all around the world, and this was an ABC News report, and it said, why successful black women find it so hard to get married. And Steve Harvey, the comedian, no less, shared his input on this, because he's becoming like a relationship type guru. And I thought, this is interesting. But I thought it was a little bit patronizing in certain ways, because it's almost like saying, well, okay, certain sections of society seem to find it easy to just go out and be married by 25 or whatever it is. And it seems like for black women, that's not as easy, which I just don't feel that's fair to say. Why wouldn't it be as easy for us to do that if we chose to do that? If we found someone that we wanted to, maybe we just ain't finding them at that age.
That's correct. I agree with that.
So why would they put it out there to say like, oh, well, if you haven't been married by 25, 30, you may be too old by the time if you do find someone by maybe 35 or 40. And why do you need to get married anyway? As I told you, look, in my mind, to me, marriage is a piece